The 4th of July is coming up, so I'm going to do a simple little recipe. I call it 4th of July Calico Beans. It doesn't hurt to, figure out which wine you're going to pair with it, so you might want to just give it a try. This is a 2016 Milbrandt Vineyards Rosé. It's 70% Syrah and 30% Tempranillo. It's a very nice blend. It only sees press time. The skins don't see any time in the tank. We press it till we get the color we want, and then we send it to tank. It settles for a couple days, and then we rack it off, and then it ferments slowly at about 55 degrees for about 20 days. You come up with a very nice wine. It's good for summer, good for barbecue. I think it'll go great with these 4th of July Calico Beans. If you're a red person and really like drinking red wine, and why not with barbecue, if you're gonna have ribs or barbecued chicken, barbecued beans, Cabernet, this Milbrandt Vineyards 2015 Cabernet Sauvignon would pair very well anything barbecue, and I think you'd like it with the beans as well. So I use pork and beans, pinto beans, baked beans, like a can of each, or a couple cans of each, whatever you want to do. And you can make it the size you want. You can double it, triple it, whatever. What you need to do is get you some cans of beans, varied beans, that's where you get the Calico, pork and beans, pinto beans, baked beans. Just get 3 or 4 cans of beans and drain them well. And that's the trick, because you don't want the juice of the beans to dilute the flavor of the finished product, and you don't want it to be too runny. That's why I drain them, so that the sauce is something that has a lot of flavor to it. So this is a can of pinto beans, and in here I have a large can of baked beans and a can of pork and beans already. And then the next thing we do is we put some bacon on the heat. So here we have a half a pound of bacon chopped up, kind of rough. I like the bacon to be big enough so you can see it in the pan or see it in the beans. I don't want you to be mystery food. I want you to know there's lots of bacon in there, lots of flavor going on. So we'll just let this cook down for it'll probably take 6 or 8 minutes, maybe close to 10 minutes to render a lot of the fat out of this bacon. You don't want it really crispy, you want it to still be chewy, and it's going to cook for another probably hour or so, simmer for another hour or maybe 2, depending on what you want to do. In that pot, uncovered, so to evaporate some of the liquid. And so the bacon will be fully cooked. You don't need to fully cook it in this pan. What you really want to do now is render some of that fat out so you can cook the onions in that. Add more flavor to the onions, and then you take the onions out and add the hamburger and cook that also in the bacon fat. So you have lots of bacon flavor in these beans. So the next step, we're going to chop some onions. But again, I want you to find those onions in the beans. I want you to know that there's chunks of onions in there, so there's not a mystery. So even just seeing it when you're eating it is going to create more flavor. So it's kind of a rough chop. You see, they're not very fine. And then the same here, about ½ inch or so cut here. So you got nice big chunks of onion you'll find in those beans when they're finished. Okay, so the bacon is pretty well cooked down. Most of the fat is rendered out and is in the pan, as you can see. So we're going to take the bacon out now and put it in the beans, and we don't care if a little of that bacon fat gets in there. That's what we want, is flavor anyway, but we need to save it to cook the onions. Now we'll fry the onions up. And I'm not adding salt or pepper to this because you can flavor it at the end if you want. Usually canned beans have a fair amount of sodium in them already, and bacon is a little salty, so at this point I don't think you want to add any seasoning. So the onions have cooked for about 5 minutes now. They're broken down, they're nice and soft and translucent, so we're going to put them in the beans along with the bacon. Another level of flavor. And we cook the hamburger as well. The hamburger's all the red is gone, and there's some chunks in there. You can see there's some bites of hamburger in here. So this hamburger is going in the beans as well. Okay, so now you have 3 kinds of beans. You have bacon, you got onions, you got hamburger, you got the start of a nice bean dish. And you can see why they call it Calico, because there's some different colors in there. Since you've drained all the juice off and it's practically dry, we're going to put the secret ingredient in there, and it can be any secret ingredient you like. I happen to like Sweet Baby Ray's secret ingredient. Barbecue sauce, but if you have a barbecue sauce you like better, that would be the thing to do. And just add about a pint of barbecue sauce in there. and then stir it and see how much moisture you have. You might want to add a little bit more. So there, you got Calico barbecue 4th of July beans ready to go. They just need to simmer for about 45 minutes, and then you're gonna have a great dish.